Hey YouTube, this is my first time making an Invincible video in over like 2 years. Anyways, Invincible season 4 just ended, and I'm literally just gonna yap a little bit about my thoughts on the new season and maybe go over the other seasons, kind of, not really. I'll honestly probably do a more concisive like video on everything once the show ends in probably like 6 years. Anyways, Season 4. So seasons 3 and 4 honestly animate like my favorite part of the original comic when it comes to everything with Conquest in season 3 and the entire Viltrumite war in this season. Honestly, I think my favorite parts of this season were the episode where they destroy the entire Viltrumite planet. That episode was really engaging. A lot of what they did with Nolan's character this season really intrigued me, honestly. They changed a lot of it from the comic, especially in his scenes one-on-one with Debbie, which I really fucking love. What they do with Debbie in the show, which they didn't do at all in the comic, is they give her depth and an actual like more emotional role in things, which makes her character 10 times more compelling. I gotta say, Sandra Oh's performance this season, bro, she kills it in the booth. I don't know how much she got paid, probably a lot considering the animation was but to be honest, the animation never really annoys me in this show. So many people online complain about it, but my opinion on it, if you want to know it, which I'm assuming you do because you clicked on this video, my opinion on the animation is really just that it's fine. It could be better, but I'm not expecting like top tier anime quality from this fucking show. I never really was. First of all, it wasn't made in Japan. Second of all, a lot of those anime companies honestly abuse a lot of their artists. But animation is not really my realm of expertise, so I'll just move on from there. Overall, if you want to see something better drawn and something that looks a little cooler, but it's the exact same thing, just go read the comics, honestly. It's not that big a deal. Anyways, back to the season. Everything they did with Debbie, I think, was really perfect. Oliver this season was, Oliver was something. Honestly, this is probably the best he'll be throughout the course of the entire series, and you'll see more as the show continues. Since it's sticking fairly close to the source material, I can say that from this point on, Oliver as a character, he kind of dips a little bit without getting too much into spoilers, of course. I also like Paul. You know, Paul's a cool dude. Even though Debbie breaks up with him off screen, he's a cool guy. And their breakup is honestly a lot more understandable here than it is in the comic, which is, I know it's funny to say that, but yeah, I guess the show is a little better than the comic in some areas. Not art, but almost everything else. I just like literally watched the final episode a few hours ago, and if you can't tell already, I do really like the show, and I do really like what they did with the characters this season, especially the last 2 episodes. I think the last 2 episodes are some of the best episodes in the entire show, honestly, if you ask me. The whole fight on Viltrum specifically is one of the best action scenes we've seen in the entire show, which is on par with the Conquest fight. And both of those scenes, both in show and comic, are like my favorite parts of Invincible, so seeing that planet getting destroyed and blown up and seeing that animated in a way that was really engaging was fucking fantastic to watch. Although they did change some things, I like a lot of the changes. The last episode specifically, I think the best part besides Mark's whole PTSD situation, which is handled really well in the show. I like how they stretch it out a little more from the comic because it just builds more tension throughout the entire episode, honestly, because you never really know if what he's seeing is real or fake. And Omni-Man visiting the previous like areas on Earth he fucked up, especially that whole crater he made when he beat the shit out of Mark in season 1 and how he's changed as a person. I love all the stuff they did with Omni-Man, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but there's some really cool scenes on Viltrum that we don't see in the original comic that flesh out the Viltrumites a lot more, especially everything with Omni-Man's mom and dad. Like the way his mom whoops his ass is fucking Jesus Christ. All in all though, completing the last episode, Mark talking to Thrag like right at the end was honestly really well done. In the books, it's Mark and Nolan talking to Thrag, and that whole scene actually happens immediately as soon as Mark gets back to Earth. But I like how that show stretches the tension out because you don't know where the Viltrumites are until the end of the episode, which works really well. Yeah, I mean, I think it was honestly a little more interesting to have Omni-Man right by Mark when they're talking to, you know, Thrag, but at the same time, Mark being there by himself just works a little better, I guess, tensity-wise. I just kind of like Omni-Man a lot as a character, I guess. So yeah, a lot of this season is just really well done, honestly, from a storytelling perspective. I really liked it. They altered the comic in a lot of ways, but that's just what the show does overall, honestly. And yeah, it's pretty much smooth sailing from here, kind of. Although I will warn you, without spoiling anything, next season, Robot and Monster Girl, yeah, they're gonna get a little bit interesting. And I don't mean like good interesting or bad interesting, just like, actually, no, I mean a really good interesting. Scratch that last part. A really good interesting. But yeah, besides that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to check out any of my other skits, movie reviews, or whatever else I have up on the channel. But yeah, bye-bye.